So I'm going to introduce you to a vinyasa flowing yoga practice, just simple asanas that are done in a sequence, in a fluid way, because we're working with the sacral chakra, and that is the element of water. So think of it more as a way of sort of just exploring, sort of playing through the postures. And you can take your own calibrations, add-ons, and sort of work with more sort of experimentation as I bring you some suggestions, but you might want to use props as well. But try and keep it sort of flowing and undulating. When you come into a pose, you might feel that you need to back off a bit and then revisit it. So that sort of repetition is also a theme that I would encourage you to bring in, although I'll just sort of demonstrate the basic kind of sequence. Also feeling, if you don't feel to do it in this order, that's fine. Take it more as the individual practices, the individual asanas, and then just work in a fluid way with them. So beginning, if you just stretch the toes open wide, building from the foundation, so you ground through the feet and bring the feet together, or just slightly hip width apart without collapsing the arches. So if you can engage the arches, lift up like through the diaphragms of the body, in knees, inner thighs, and then outwardly just sort of reposition your pelvis so it comes into a neutral position. So you might be like talking or twisting or sort of tilting and losing that life force out, pouring out from the sacrum area. So if you want to just try and draw it into a neutral position, it's like, think of the pelvis like a bowl of golden vital life force, and you want to sort of hold on to it in a way that's just culturing, sort of nurturing that center, rather than wasting out, pouring, leaking energy out, or retaining, blocking, collapsing. So it's a sense of really just building from that power, dropping the center of your gravity here into Svadhisthana chakra, just below the navel, into the midline of the body, centering your focus, the drishti there internally. And then you can notice that the outer hips can just sort of relax down. There's no clenching in the buttocks, there's a softening, but you ground your tailbone down to the earth. And if you're dumping your weight forward, just notice this and just start to drop back a little bit more and feel those 3 points of contact in the feet. So once you've got the foundation sorted there, then you have this sense of uprising or prana movement and this rooting, grounding force from this center of balance. Also just check that the shoulders aren't sort of tensioning up and rising up. See if you can just drop them down a little bit so they relax away from the ears. Opening the chest, like a smiling heart. And then just beginning with the belly breathing. So throughout the asanas we're going to offer you, really just staying focused on this area. So it's more of a meditation and movement than trying to achieve some outer posture. So this feeling is resting in here. We can use this yoni mudra to just have this downward focus of a triangle resting at the top of the pubic bone just below the navel, and breathing into the belly. Begin with that deep belly breath, taking your time to center, and then just softening at the knees a little bit there. So it's more of a Tai Chi stance. Now your feet might be together or hip width apart, and just see if they are, if one is sort of turning in or the other, going supinate or pronate, because that will show you what's going on in the pelvis. So get the feet alignment there, parallel. So if you are on a yoga mat, you've got the blade edge on the outside, aligned to the outer edge of the yoga mat. Knees are soft, center of gravity down here. This is your center, your core. The physical core, but the core and center of your being as well, the origin of movement. So if you can, just stay here without going off into the head or tripping out into the thoughts. Take the breath, stay with that breathing as you breathe up from the earth. Gather and release down. Bending the knees a little bit more, letting the weight drop down to the earth. And drawing up. Gathering like you feel the life force rising up through to the crown and then releasing down. And you could do this for a good 5 minutes just to get the pranic flow going, this flowing fluid biofeedback loop, reconnected with the earth. The energy's not there in your thoughts, dropped up into your head, but it's actually sunk down into this belly of being that you're starting to bring deep focus into. So allowing that flow, palms turn down as you sink down, lubricating the joints of the knees, the synovial fluid here, because as you sink low, you feel the quads active, and then you draw up from the earth. And flowing with that as long as you feel to, until you're able to come to center. Place your right hand on your belly, left hand on the heart. Coming back to the breath if you'd lost it. If possible, breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. As you breathe in, really feel also the sideway breathing, the back body breathing, the front body. So there's this 360 degrees awareness of this sort of cranial pulse in the body, the sense of flowing, expanding in all directions as you breathe. Breathing in, emptying out. So the sense of expansion, we're not just sort of contracting into this little form, but feeling the sense of life itself, opening up, dissolving our sense of contraction of our personal boundaries. So from that breath, expanding awareness beyond the limitation of the form and the energy system. And then we're going to turn to the top of our mat and go through a sun salutation. If you know a sun salutation, then just begin that and do your version if you want to. So I'm just going to come into a suggestion, a variation of the sun salutation. I like to keep the knees soft, feet parallel again, and just let the tailbone draw down. So staying grounded, rooted, plugged in. And then we can rise up, take an inhale. Keep rising and then press the hips forward and engage the inner thighs to activate through the core. Lift the navel to the heart, rise up, and then you can deepen into a back bend as you engage the glutes. Palms, if you like to see that closer, left thumb over the right. Index fingers touching them in Kali Mudra. Kali is the relinquisher of ego. It's sort of having a honed direction, a focus. And essentially it's also the yogic principle that these bodies are our temple. So we're becoming an active channel. Take another inhale. And exhale, flowing through the movement, roll the spine. This sense of rolling the pelvis. So we're not just L-shaping down, we release the pelvis, active through the quads to release the hamstrings. Maybe you can open up sort of at the thigh that's between the thigh and the butt a little bit, just to release the lower back and let the head low. And then just flow the spine for a moment. Feel the water element come in to rolling the spine. Just playing with it. You can keep the knees really bent at first. You can just let the ribs sort of drape on the thighs. The weight is pouring over so the pelvis comes over the alignment of the ankle. We're not locked back into the heels. Even distribution of weight in the feet. Rolling the spine with the inhale and exhale. Releasing the lumbar region, still focused, the lower back, Svadhisthana chakra, this whole core area, relaxing the lower back to create some length there. You release the hamstrings and the calves, pouring the head down, release the neck. Inhale, rise up, lengthen the spine. Keep the even distribution of the weight so you're not locked back into your heels, pelvis, hip line over the ankles. Inhale, looking up, squeezing of tension out, thoracic spine, open the chest. Exhale, drop down. You're going to step back into a plank, quite a core power activation. So you feel a sense of navel drawing to the heart, but the pubic bone is drawing to the navel. Uddiyana Bandha, the energy seal of the navel, it's like it's drawing in towards the spine. Press back into your heels. Keep the hollow body of drawing your ribs in. Lengthen your neck in alignment with the rest of the spine. Roll the eyes of the elbows forward. Plug the hands down so the knuckles, the root of the knuckles are engaged. Two-way force drawing forward through your crown and also drawing back through your heels. Holding it for a few moments so you feel that core shake and drawing down through your plank. Chaturanga Dhanasana, you can either hover or come all the way down, release the feet, rising to Bhujangasana. This is the snake. Without dumping the weight into the heels of the hands, keep the root of the knuckles grounded, bending the elbows, lengthen the neck. Open the chest, release the shoulders away from the ears. Let the pubic bone rise up, slide the fascia up to meet the navel. Navel is hugged in, supporting the core. Inhale, squeezing tension out of the kidneys, lifting the kidneys. The heels roll out. Keep the chest and the heart open. Inhale, and we roll down, drawing back through Bhujangasana, keeping this fluid expiration going, so undulating movements of awakening the spine through this water element of Svadhisthana chakra. Sliding back, releasing the sort of the wrists of the hands, rise up like elephant tusks, tractioning the spine, drawing forward as you lengthen the tailbone away and release the head. Deep breath in here, take your time. I'll demonstrate briefly, but you can keep flowing, undulating, taking a good, 4 minutes even expiration in each posture. Inhale, drawing forward, opening the chest, bending the elbows. Exhale. Inhale, and we just transition a few times through this hinging balasana, this earthing posture, rolling forward with the drishti focus there in Svadhisthana chakra, in the center point of the body. And you're also massaging your lower back here. You're warming up the lower back, lifting the kidneys. The kidneys are also the water elements of Svadhisthana chakra. So it's sort of like you're squeezing out the damp, as it were. Inhale. Exhale. Tractioning back, deep breath in to Svadhisthana chakra, opening like a flower. You can imagine sort of like a lotus at the lumbar region, petal by petal, just unfurling, opening up. And drawing through this sort of flow for a good few moments, rolling the spine, lifting up through the back, heart, sinking the belly down, opening the chest. Once you've explored with that flow a little bit, then you can place your knees underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders. Take a deep inhale here, and we go through this cat-cow variation. Eyes of the elbows face forward, draw the scapula down the back, engage the lats, press the chest forward, open and massaging the throat. Exhale, puff out the back of the heart, lift up through the back of the heart, draw Uddiyana Bandha, although because I'm pregnant I'm not demonstrating that. Inhaling, exhaling, you feel the engagement of Uddiyana Bandha. So the navel sealing towards the spine when you come into that concave. Inhale, toes are curled under, and from here, lift up onto the tips of your toes, draw back out of your plunging forward until we find our way to walk the feet, Ardha Mukha Svanasana, in the downward dog. Knees can be coming over at a diagonal as you move into opening through your side body as well. Take a fairly wide stance, so we're making a triangle, but we're keeping it fluid and playful in the triangle. So we're not having to hold this one position. We're just walking, warming up the hamstrings and the calves, rippling the spine. See how the spine becomes like a wave? In the fluid practice of the second chakra, we want this wave-like vinyasa movements. Inhale, exhale, lift up the heels, roll forward. Exhale, ground the heels down, draw back. The breath leads the movement. And when you played around with this sort of expiration spine, maybe turning the feet one way and the other, walking the feet, rolling the spine. Take your time with this. Then you can lift up the left leg all the way up and bending the knee, turn that foot as if it's going to come towards kissing the right hip. And then look through your armpit to see your foot and roll the ankle, making circles there as we deeply release the psoas in this stretch. So you should look to see your foot if possible. Deep breath into Svadhisthana chakra, deep breath into that part in the center midline, the womb area. Inhale, you can lift up the back of the heel, roll forward through core activation, making a hollow body. Uddiyana bandha is engaged, navel is sealed in. Step forward lightly to land in your first lunge. So in this lunge, let's get the setup first of all, but you can be moving through it in a really fluid way. Take that back knee as far as you can. Make sure you're on a yoga mat and you're padded so that the hip is directly over the knee. Release the back foot. Stepping forward to the left lunge. Under Tadasana, you're just taking this extension to rise up. Inhale and roll the arms back. Exhale, hinge. So I'm pressing into that front foot to draw myself back, open up, and exhale. Inhale, moving with the vinyasa breath, lead the movement. Inhale. So once I feel a bit warmed up there, with the same rising gesture in Kali Mudra, inhale, draw up. Then without compressing the lumbar, I create space there with the navel sealed in to support Uddiyana bandha. It's supporting the lower back. Look to the fingertips and come into your backward arch as deep as you'd like to. Keep grounded in the front leg. So your even distribution of weight. Take an inhale here. You might come back, exhale. Inhale, rise up again, and try this a few times to really warm the lower back with the focus, the drishti there. So you can play around with that, sort of doing little hinging, lunging movements, which releases the groin, releases through the psoas, opens this whole core activation. Really good warm up for the lower back, easing out lumbar tension. Still feel the rising up as you fold back, so you're not just locking back and dumping weight back. Controlled movement through deep awareness in action. If you're possible, for your neck, you can let the head draw up and look to the fingertips so the head is nested in the shoulders. Once we've tried this a few moments there with that lunge, then we can plant the right hand down. Take an inhale, now it's in alignment to that front left foot. Stretch and lift the back leg up a little bit more. Plant the knee down. Inhale, rise your left hand all the way up and take a deep circle wide. So you're opening the heart space as you roll onto the blade edge of that front left leg, which is, roughly speaking, the left knee is directly over the ankle. Take an inhale. Two-way force going on, both directions. Creating opening of space. Exhale. Inhale, take a little bit further back this time. Look, the drishti goes to the fingertips. Exhale, circle traces round, up and over. Flowing with the breath. Releasing that shoulder girdle, opening the heart. From this full circle, then perhaps we can grab a belt or a towel or a blanket and catch hold of our back foot. If it's available to you, catch the toes. Take an inhale here, keep the directional force of drawing forward with the front leg, drawing back with the back. Then perhaps some of you might like to come onto your forearms and bend that left elbow. Just stretch out and release the quad, release the groin. Release and open the core area, Svadhisthana chakra. Looking back, the drishti now focuses on the left elbow. So we roll that shoulder to stay open, not locked down here. You can open the chest. Remember, that's just an option. You don't have to come all the way down. You can stay high and just reach back if it doesn't feel possible to catch the foot. Then we just traction out. In this half Hanuman posture, lengthen the spine. High on your fingertips, or you could use 2 blocks either side and rest on them. Or you could use pillows if you don't have that. Take an inhale. And lengthen, releasing the sciatic line. Take a bow to yourself. Then coming back, transitioning through our cat-cow, this tabletop ground, lengthening the spine 2-way directions if someone's drawing you from your tail and drawing forward through your crown. Inhale, eyes, the elbows roll forward, chest opens up. Exhale. Coming back through Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog. Press into the ground. Really press your palms deeply in. And draw back. Now heels can stay high, knees can stay bent. When we come into our lunge, first of all we want to take the left leg all the way up. Point the toe, take an inhale, bend that leg, roll out the ankle both ways, opening up the groin. Breathe deeply into that psoas stretch that goes all the way through, attaching to the back of the navel and the diaphragm. Come back into Svadhisthana, chakra focus. Roll the ankle both ways, take it so you can look through your left armpit and see your foot. Take an inhale here, exhale, straighten that leg, look forward, lift up the back left heel. Inhale, drawing through hollow body engagement. You would be in Uddiyana Bandha, so your navel sealed towards the spine. Plant that right foot. Coming through a high lunge, stretch the 2-way force. Front leg drawing forward, back leg pressing back into the back heel. Release the back foot. Take an inhale. Just take a moment to get the setup and the foundation before we start flowing. So, front right foot, knee directly over that right ankle, stretching back that back leg, but the flat of the foot is resting the ground. So you don't have to hyperextend here. Keep the sense of hugging everything into source, moving from the origin of being, so the center, the Svadhisthana chakra. So you don't have to leap ahead and front load or lock back in reticence. Try to see the even distribution is possible. It's still active, it's engaged, but you're still having the sense of hugging back, rooting from your center. So from that lunge, we're facing forward, lifting navel to the heart. Heart is opening, relaxing the shoulders. Rise up so you feel space open up through the lumbar where it's usually compressed. Keep drawing up as you breathe. Left thumb over the right in Kali Mudra. Become an open channel with a deep intentional prayer. So you're opening to grace. This is a warrior posture. To become this sort of warrior of peace, but to literally open to receive God's grace. Take an inhale. If possible, press into that right front foot and control the movement to keep that leverage slow and steady, to ease into your back bend. As deep as feels good. Take some deep, slow breaths there. And we might try it a few times and might flow through it, come out and go back in. Inhale, rise up, draw back, exhale, inhale. Exhale. And just play around with this sort of fluidity in the water element of the vinyasa. And then you might like to open to the lotus mudra, which is this sense of this active mudra, receiving grace through the crown, channeling it through into your being, channeling it into the heart and into the belly, into this yoni mudra. Reorientating from the center Inhale, we plant the left hand down on the ground. We roll onto the blade edge of the right foot. Rise up. You can come into Jnana Mudra, index fingers to the thumb. Symbolic gesture of awakening wisdom. The small self and the big self rooted at one. Take an inhale. Rise up and full circle. Exhale. Play with the lunging movement. Drawing forward, up, high, take it as far back as you can. Let the drishti, the sight, it's a massage for your eyes as well. Awaken those parts of the brain. We're creating new brains in yoga. Inhale. Part of the conditioning we find in the second chakra is addiction. So those addictive tendencies are really deeply rooted, ingrained in the brain, often very genetically impacted as well. So we need to change our brains by creating new pathways of consciousness. So even sometimes when we're moving in unfamiliar, strange ways, this is very good for us to awaken the body clairvoyance, to come out of habit. Allowing consciousness to fully occupy the form. Inhale. And from that full circle, you might like to just stay high here and just rock side to side a little bit. You might be able to take your left foot up and use a blanket or a belt, hook it around the foot and engage it, starting to bend the elbow, opening the chest, trying that movement. Possibly some of you could catch your foot and then you can seal the foot towards the glute. And another option might be to come down onto your forearm and then really open and roll out the shoulder girdle to open from the heart, to bend the right elbow, look towards it, and breathe. With the meditation focused deep in Svadhisthana chakra. You can still feel the engagement of Uddiyana Bandha, empowering the lower back, empowering the core. The energy seal. Inhale. And release. But again, you can go in and out of it, play around with it for a few 5 minutes or so. Maybe take a little gentle rocking movement before stretching out. And we come into half Hanuman. So the back leg is bent. Front leg straight, high on your fingertips. Lengthen out the spine. Release the hamstrings and the sciatic. These are the sort of fear lines, the sciatic line of the body. Also the bladder lines running down here on the meridian level. Inhale. Lengthen, lift the chest, release the head. Inhale, drawing forward. Playing with the flowing of the spine, the rolling wave-like motions. Take an inhale again. Bring the leg back, rise up. And take the leg back. And from here, take an inhale from your tabletop, level out the back again, and make some little pelvic rolls. So we go circles, but we go both ways. Then maybe close your eyes and just dance with the movement of circulating the pelvis, hinging at the hips, just drawing full awareness into the navel there and just feeling that possibility of tracing circles in the air. All those circles are really good for the joints. Really good for the pelvis. Relax the belly. Let the head completely go. Close your eyes and just journey inside without that self-consciousness to try and care what it looks like. Just stay with how it feels. Awakening the somatic intelligence of the form. So as you playfully dance the pelvis into circles, when you're shifting to one side, you might be really easing out tension here in this Tensifata Lata, this whole IT band, so you can ease into places that feel tight and sort of circulate them, breathe them into openness, into relinquishing, into unwinding the body. From here, you might like to double up your yoga mat so you have a good knee support, a little bit like we just explored, but Uttanasana in the camel pose. Again, you feel a little massage into your kidneys. Lift up, focus here, drishti in the navel. Place your hands, fingertips facing into the spine, and just open a little here. Relinquish the head. It's just a little warm up, and we can just go back and forwards and play with it without locking back, but rising up like a fountain and arching over. Pressing the hips forward, engaging the inner adductors. Then from here we might have the support grounding down through your shins. Come up into Kali Mudra again. Stretching up. Again, make the circle. Take the hips over to the right side. Hinging down, grazing through the heels, not actually sitting down. Taking it as far wide as you can. Tracing a circle with your fingertips, arching back. Find the circles of life. Moving from your center, your core. Going both ways with your circle. Don't forget about the pelvis. Making a full circle there as well. Both ways. Slow or as fast as you like. More like dancing the movement. Opening through the side body. Taking the hips far and wide. And from here, deep rising up again, find the Lotus Mudra, breathing in that call for grace, become active in your prayer, your intention for transformation and healing. Gliding through the whole chakra system, come to second chakra. From second chakra we come into the mudra, left palm under the right. Making this circuit again, that circle of life. So again, we feel the sense that there's an open front door, there's an open back door. We receive, feel that abundance, and we let go. Receive, feel the abundance, and we let go. Just dropping into that flow, that circle of life, in that noticing that the healing for the second chakra is actually giving. As we give, we realize that is receiving. So there's no blockage or identification to ownership, attachment, separation consciousness. We can just feel this like flow, ebb and flow of life, all coming, all going, all is impermanent. So feeling that fluid quality of what it's like to feel the optimal, healed, open second chakra. And as you breathe in with this mudra, come to a comfortable sitting position. And maybe you'd like to be on your knees. If that's too much, use a raise, use a block or a pillow so you're sitting there, you're feeling tenderness in your knees. So from centering here for a moment with this second chakra mudra, we're then just going to place our hands on these kidney lines that run through into stomach lines, which we're resting on. Take a deep breath in. Open the chest, opening the heart, pressing the belly forward. Exhale, emptying out. This is where we use Uddiyana Bandha, the navel seal, but I won't demonstrate it because of pregnancy, but you can draw that navel in all the way, empty the breath with a might even like to stick your tongue out, which will release and drain the glands here. Inhale. Opening the heart, full inhale, draw the scapula together, draw your wings together and down your back. Open, yes, a somatic yes at the heart. Exhale, tongue sticks out, chin comes to the chest in Jalandhara Bandha, which is often the expression part of the second chakra. So it needs a little bit of healing there in order for that clearing to go deep. Drawing the chin to the chest, releasing the back of the heart, navel engaged all the way in towards the spine, emptying the breath completely, and inhale. Exhale, stick the tongue out, let that drain happen. Simha, lion breath, all the way out. And then as you're doing, you're really awakening those different parts of the spine. So you're not just sort of shoulders and neck and head leading movements. See if you can get the mobility in the area that's sort of, let's say, least mobile. There's a lot of mobility in our thoracic spines, but less in the lumbar. So we want to increase that flexibility, which is an attitude in life, to be able to openly accept what is and to let go. It's not just a physical act. So we're bringing in that sort of somatic intelligence to awaken by gentle movements to encourage that mobility and flexibility. Even if there's tenderness there, it needs our loving compassion. It needs conscious, active movement, not to freeze in that freeze protection response and harden and tighten, which develop all those lumbar issues, but to actually keep the play of life, the rhythm, the pranic flow going. So soft, and less is more. Try little bits with it and just mostly focusing on the breath, breathing into this area. So it's a meditation and movement. Once we've had that fluid exploration there, then we're going to take a deep inhalation, and our integration is going to be in balasana, in child's pose, with all the focus in the lumbar and sacroiliac joint region. So that becomes more a meditational practice in this asana. So again, just a reminder of balasanas. You want to, in this version, take the knees wide, and we're actually going to thread left palm under the right and thread the hands through the legs and rest the cheek onto the ground. Relax the belly. Staying here for some long time. And this, now we enter more yin cool down. So you want some stillness, but you can still bring in the element of flow with rocking side to side and deep breaths with the entire focus here, sacroiliac joint, lumbar region. And you imagine it like a lotus flower just opening, unfolding to the light, spreading spaciousness where it's been compressed. So it needs just loving attention, it needs breath. Emptying and lengthening on the exhale, inhale, filling in. And so we can come back to the mantra, the japa mantra internally, or you could do it aloud. The reminder for that is VAM, V-A-M. So as you're lying in balasana in the child's pose, make sure you get to turn your head both ways to release the neck. And we breathe in and breathe out. Breathing in, filling up light into that area, letting the flower open to the light. On the exhale, and let that yellow light of the second chakra really just shine forth. It's like a yellowish orange light that it's usually associated with. So it's just letting that grow like an orb of light and spread and radiate that warmth of light through the lower back. And it will be advisable to stay there for a good 2 minutes to 5 minutes, breathing, and if it feels a bit of tension there in the hips as they surrender, just sway side to side. Try a nurturing childlike rocking pose, because this is also the seat of this inner child. So we want to move in a very nurturing, soft, rhythmical way, not hard, strong, forcing intention, but really to just explore in a soft way to help yielding and unraveling. So have a go with that, see how it goes, let me know. Thank you for watching. Om Hasato Ma Satgamaya